guys, I am finally back again after quite some time, as per usual, as it goes with my channel, but I'm finally back to do the Project Goth playlist tag that you may have seen going around YouTube lately. This tag was created by the House of Wyvern, or I guess Wyvern, depending on your regional accent, but anyway, essentially this tag was created to give goth YouTubers a chance to talk about some of their favorite bands, be them more popular or more unknown. I believe that this tag was created in response to a certain video that was going around a couple months ago that I may or may not have been in, but let's not talk about that. Anyway, during this tag, the person doing it will suggest a band that they'd like to talk about. They'll talk about how they found this band. They'll also talk about any additional info on the band itself, any of its members, its sort of history, how it was formed, I guess any albums that are their favorite, or any albums in specific that they want to talk about, and then just any other additional info about the band. And then in the end, they'll suggest a number of tracks that are their favorite and sort of why they'd recommend them or why they chose those tracks. I've seen a lot of people do a lot of the more popular bands, such as the Sisters of Mercy and Clan of Zymox, but I haven't seen a lot of people do some of the more underground bands, or haven't really seen anyone do anything that was involving the French coldwave or any coldwave bands. So of course, being a major fan and someone who is very, very into coldwave, I decided to do mine on Opéra De Nuit. I discovered this band back when I was first getting into coldwave sometime back in 2016. The way I found them was through the compilation album Transmission 81-89, the French Cold Wave. If you haven't heard this compilation and you're interested in coldwave, then I highly recommend it. Opéra De Nuit was formed in 1982, and they were part of the French coldwave scene that lasted throughout the 1980s. If you're unfamiliar with coldwave, it's essentially the French branch of the early goth movement. What differentiated the coldwave scene from other goth movements was that it took influence from not only post-punk, but new wave as well, translating those sounds into some of the foundational musical structure that would stick with the goth subgenres to this day. Influenced by albums like The Cure's Faith, coldwave artists like Opéra De Nuit combined this minimalist goth rock and post-punk sound with sometimes dissonant and cold electronic sounds. Coldwave can be a tricky subject because it's both an established subgenre as well as the name of a specific regional scene. The scene was a bit diverse, and like with many early scenes, a solidified sound that would define the genre didn't exactly evolve until later. Some bands were purely synth-based and had deeper roots in punk, like Cast Product. While other bands like Opéra De Nuit relied more on traditional instruments to create their cold sound and were directly inspired by the UK's early goth and post-punk scene. Some bands like Martin Dupont were able to seamlessly blend the two sounds, but instruments used really differed band by band within the scene. Synths, however, were practically key to many of the band's sounds and remained a staple in contemporary coldwave. Opéra De Nuit released one full-length album during their time as a band, as well as 2 short EPs. Many of the EP tracks were actually re-released on the full-length, but there are some exceptions. My favorite of their releases are the full-length, self-titled album, Opéra De Nuit, as well as their EP, Âme Noire, because it includes one of my favorite songs by them that wasn't released on anything else, and that is Karen Lloyd. Some of my other favorites by them include Âme Noire, Invitation, Ami Amant, and Annabella. that I chose these songs, other than them being obviously some of my favorites, is that I feel that they sort of exemplify what the coldwave scene was all about, which was the blend of the new wave synth sound and the cold electronic sound with the more biotic and natural sound of traditional instruments. Another thing that I didn't mention but I found interesting about Opéra De Nuit is that they actually had two singers that would perform on different tracks. One was male and the other one was female, and I find that the contrast between their vocals gives the band a very interesting sound that sort of differentiates them from a lot of other 80s post-punk and 80s goth stuff. Anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and hopefully you guys will check out Opéra De Nuit. If you do, let me know what you think of them, let me know which songs become your favorites, and until the next video, bye guys.